This is your review for your quiz and your test. There are some review questions at the end of this PowerPoint that will give you an idea of which types of questions will be on this review section for this test. All right, so in the first slide, we're starting off with our one-step equations. You will have one-step equations and two-step equations on your quiz and test. It's a very big part of your test. All right, that's 3 sections out of 4, actually, technically. Okay, so we've got our one-step equations. All right, go ahead and solve both of these. Okay, let's see, Lydia, what would I do to the first equation to solve for x? Very good. I subtract 2.7 from both sides, and what do I get for my answer? 7.1. Very good. Okay, and I can plug that back in, add them together, and it does make the equation true. All right, Mr. Haynes, Aiden, what would be the next one? How would I solve for x?
You multiply, use the reciprocal.
Yes, very good. Yes, very good. Reciprocal, 8/5, but remember to do it to the other side. And just make sure, check that cross-reducing, because we've seen some mistakes there where, we know what it reduces to. Just make sure you don't make a simple mistake there. And then 6 times 8 is 48. All right, did you guys get those? Okay, now let's go on to two-step equations. Two-step equations, remember, we move the term that is not connected to the variable first. We move that term first. What does that mean? That means the addition and subtraction. Okay, that means the addition and subtraction. But wait, look at this second one. Am I going to add and subtract first? No, what do I need to do? I've got to do that distributive property. Then I rewrite my equation. Then I follow my steps. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and work through these two problems. All right, so step 1, Isla, what'd you do first on the first equation?
I added 17.
Very good. All right, now we're going to get real specific here. Did you draw the long equal sign to kind of separate them, right? Okay, and now we bring down what's left. 3/8 x equals 27. All right, Hadley, what'd you do next?
I multiplied. I did the reciprocal and made the resistance.
Very good. Very good. And then did you guys cross-reduce it all?
Yes.
Did y'all cross-reduce that? 3 and 27? That'll make it a lot easier. 72. Okay, and if you just said x, that's fine because the one's understood. All right, now I distribute on the next one. -2 times 8x, class.
-16.
All right. Okay, all 19 of you. Okay, -2 times -1.
2.
Yes, +2. So that's why we have a plus sign. Equals 5, which we don't distribute because it was not in the parentheses. All right, now I'm ready to move everything to the other side and solve for x. Now, when I subtract 2, I can see this is not going to be a whole number for my answer. That's okay. All right, -3/16. All right, who got that right? Who got that right? If you missed it, do you see where you went wrong? Any questions? Anybody have a question on that? Okay, let's clear fractions. I think this is an area that still needs a little bit of work, okay? So hopefully we can continue to clear up any questions you might have about solving these. It is on your quiz and test next week, okay? So I want you to clear the fractions first, rewrite your equation, and solve. I'm just going to walk around, answer any questions, and check on you guys. So in order to clear the fractions, I must multiply by the LCD. Okay, so what is my LCD?
14.
It's 14. And remember, guys, what we're doing is we are distributing this 14. What does it mean? 14 times 6/7. I can cross-reduce all of these denominators. Cross-reduce 7 and 14 to make a 2. And then 2 times 6 is what? Okay, 2 times 6 is 12. okay? And then let's cross reduce again. 7 to 14 is another 2. What's 2 times 5x? 10x. Very good. And then when I cross reduce my 14s, well, that just reduces to 1. So now I have equals 3. Did you get that equation?
Yes.
Did you get that equation? So now, okay, that's the hard part. Now I can just solve my two-step. Subtract 12 from both sides, get -9, and divide by 10. And my answer is a fraction. Guys, on these questions specifically, your answer will probably not be whole, okay? Because look at how many fractions are in the original equation, all right? For your answer to be a whole number, usually doesn't happen. All right, so now we're going to switch gears to section 4.4, and you have a good number of questions on your quiz on Monday from 4.4. Okay, I wouldn't say it's quite half, but it's definitely not just 2 questions. All right, so in the first slide, what I want to do is take each scenario, and I'd like you to write an inequality that represents the scenario, and then I want you to give me a value that would make it true. All right, and remember, guys, what we're doing here is we're saying, okay, how do my acceptable values, okay, the values that would make this statement true, how does it compare to my starting value? You're always going to have a number in here. Do my values need to be more than the given value? Then that would be greater than. Do they need to be less than? And your keywords will tell you. Okay, those keywords will tell you what symbol needs to be compared to X. All right, so let's try the first one together. Go ahead and get that one down and get a value that would stand for, or basically that would make it true. Does anybody have the inequality? You think you figured it out for the first one? Just a couple? All right, not everybody at once. Okay, let's try to get some different volunteers. Joel?
5 and then the
Start with your X. Start with X.
so S and then
Uh-huh.
the variable facing it with a little
So does it need to be open towards the S or closed off?
close off.
No. So the students, okay, it says at least, okay? So if I use S, that means the number of students has to be at least 5, okay? So an acceptable, and guys, listen, I know that it's easy to kind of get this switched up in your head, but think about it. If I said that the values have to be at least a value, I want you to think of a value. That's why we have this section. Think of a value that's at least 5. If you say 7, okay, if you're thinking 7, that means that the values have to be more than 5. Do you see that? Okay, so literally you could say any value, 10, 15. Okay, well, let's keep it reasonable. Okay, you can't have 4,000 students enter the Brain Bowl. Okay, all right. Is that helping? I know that this can be a challenge, but again, the reason we're trying to put a value in there is to help you understand why the symbol, needs to face the variable in that way. In this case, it would be greater than. Lynn, what'd you write?
So the amount of people is P and it's closed since it's fewer than 3,000.
Uh-huh. Very good. Did you put it equal to? Okay, then you're correct. It's only less than, okay? As it doesn't say less than or equal to. All it says is fewer than 3,000. So give me a value fewer than 3,000. Just tell me.
420.
Okay. Okay, so 420 I heard. Let me ask you this. Are negative numbers, would a negative number technically make this true?
No. Yes.
Okay, technically yes. However, look at the scenario. Can you have a negative number of people? No. Okay? You can't say, I see -2 people in the room right now, right? So negative values, listen, guys, this is important for your quiz. Please stop talking. Negative values are not a value that could be used here. Okay? All right, try the last one. Go ahead and try the last one. Kids can be no more than 50 pounds to play in the bounce house. Again, start with your variable. How do the acceptable values compare to the starting value? All right, so your acceptable values, would those values be less than? Okay, then you would write less than. Would they be less than or equal to, greater than or equal to? What would it be? All right, anybody? Anybody? Anybody?
Yes.
Come on. All right, Janice, do you have it? A what now? Okay, less than. And don't forget it is equal to also, because it says no more than. So if you get on the scale, okay, and it says 50, can you get on? Yeah, you can get on. P is less than or equal to 50. So give me a weight that's less than 50. 42. Okay, very good. Does -3 count?
69.
Does -3 count? No, you can't be a negative weight. Okay, so here's, very good. So here's another section that will be on your quiz. To write the inequality from the word sentence, you will not be asked to solve this, okay, although you might be able to. You won't be asked to solve it. I just want an inequality. So this is not an equal sign, okay? So I know that sometimes we can just get into a habit. We say equals, but remember, these are inequalities. So I'm looking for number and variable. How does it compare with the other side? Is it greater than, less than? Does it have an equal to? All right, go ahead and write these two down. All right, Alexa, what did you write for your inequality on the first one?
I wrote 5x is less than or equal to 10.
All right, that's perfect. Did you guys write that?
Yes.
5x is less than or equal to 10 because, think about it, if I said you can be at most 12 to get your kids' meal for free, that means that all the acceptable ages have to be less than 12. Do you get that? Okay, so at most means that the variable is all my acceptable answers have to be less than or equal to. What about the second one? Does anybody have the second one? Caleb? You got it.
A minus 12 with the open sign.
Okay. Very good. So when it's open towards the variable, I know that the vocab is tough on this. All right. So you guys, when you say it needs to be open towards the variable, what sign are you saying? Can anybody tell me? Just tell me. You're saying greater than. So when it's closed off towards the variable, it would be less than, okay? And then 15's on the other side. All right, so great job. Great job. You got that. And again, we don't have to solve this. All right, now we need to also test solutions. Now, this part was maybe a little confusing on your homework because it was just written in a different format in the lesson, okay? And sometimes they do that on the examples and I just missed it. All right, so this is not something that's necessarily new to you guys, to take a value and to plug it in for the variable to see if it makes the inequality true, okay? So when I plug in -4, does that mean 4 minus 4? No. When I plug in -4, very good. It means multiplication because this is 4 times x. So go ahead and substitute these values on both of these problems. Let's test our solutions. Do these values make the inequality true? That's what I'm wondering. So your final answer is a yes or a no. But the substitution and to simplify both sides, that's the work I'm looking for. Okay, so we are running out of time, so I'm just going to kind of walk through this with you. You might be finishing up. All right, so just pay attention. When you plug in -4 for x, what do you get? What's -4 times -4?
-16.
-16. Okay, so this is obvious. Is -16 greater than 48? No. Absolutely not. Okay. Now, when we plug in -9, what's -3 plus -9? It's -12. Same sign, add and keep. Okay. So -12, is that greater than or equal to -12?
Yes.
Yes, it is, because it has the equal to part of the symbol. Now, if that wasn't there, it would not be true. Okay, but it is equal to. All right, now on the next slide, okay, we're graphing inequalities, which means I need to graph the solution on a number line. There needs to be 3 numbers on my number line. You have to decide what 3 numbers go there. Is it an open or closed dot, and which way your arrow goes. Okay, so that middle number is going to be my 5. What number goes to the left? Oh, sorry, -5, yes. So -6 and -4. Open or closed dot? Closed, because that equal to means that -5 can be a part of the solution. Which way does my arrow go? To the left, because it is closed off to the variable, which means all the acceptable answers must be less than or equal to -5. So that means I need to draw my line, okay, to the left with my arrow on the end showing that my solutions can keep going on into infinity. Okay? All right, less than -5. What number goes in the middle on the second one?
3.
And then to the left?
4.
To the left? 2. To the right? 4. Open or closed? Open. Open. There's no equal to. So that bar underneath the sign is what I'm looking for. Okay, does my arrow go right or left? Right. It does go to the right, showing that all acceptable solutions that would make the inequality true are greater than. Okay? Sorry, I lost my line. Okay, so it would be greater than. All right. Okay, so that's it for graphing inequalities. Now, the review. These review questions, okay, are very similar to what you would see in the review section on this test specifically. All right, so at this point, we have 3 entire chapters of material to pull 5 questions from. So what I'm trying to do is narrow down the types of questions you will see in this review section on this test. So we need to write an expression that has a solution of 12. We've seen this coming up, okay, creeping into our problems where I need an expression. Remember, an expression has a variable, an operation, and an answer, okay? All right, an expression that has a solution of 12. Actually, an expression isn't even an equation, okay? So an expression even takes it a step back. It doesn't necessarily have to have a variable. I think on this test, we could just write like 2 times 6. Now, we did take that a step further in this chapter, and your equation had to have a variable. Okay, so 2 times 6 is 12. We could say negative 14 plus 26. Okay, that would also be positive 12. Okay, now do y'all remember how to find the mean?
Yes.
Okay, add them all up. Now look at this. Negative 10 minus 20 is negative 30. Plus 30 is 0. So now we have, just add the other 2 that are left. 30 divided by 5 would give me 6. Okay, so what does this tell you? You need to review the mean. Okay, you have your old test. Go back and review the mean. It's going to be on this test. What do I do here? How would I simplify this expression?
Add all the
What do we call those things? The like terms. Very good. What's negative 4x minus 7x?
negative
What's negative 4x minus 3x?
negative 7.
Yes, negative 7x. Whoops. Okay. All right. And what's 15 minus 20?
Negative 5.
Negative 5. So that would be my answer here on this third one. Okay. Factor using the GCF. Okay. So hold on, time out. It's 2 my GCF. It's a common factor.
No.
No? So do y'all remember how to find the biggest one if you're not sure? Okay. Take the biggest, take the smallest number and start with your largest factor of the smallest number, which is 1 times 12. Does 12 go into 60?
Yes.
So now you have found the biggest number. So start with your factors of the smaller number. So you're going to pull out a 12. How do you figure out what's left inside? Do you guys remember? How do you remember what's left inside? How do you know?
Divide.
Yes, you divide the original by what you factored out. What's negative 12 divided by 12? Negative 1x. Okay? What's positive 60 divided by 12?
5.
Plus 5. Okay, you see how we figured that out? Now, when I distribute it, I can go back and I can end up with the original problem. So then I tell you specifically what to factor out. Factor out the negative 4. Remember, you must write the factored number. That's the only way to put it back to the original. And then how do you figure out what's left inside? You divide. The original divided by the factored number. So what's negative 4 divided by negative 4?
1.
Positive 1, and then bring down your x. Do you even have to write the 1? No, it's understood when it's positive. What's negative 16 divided by negative 4?
Positive 4.
Positive 4. So look what happens, guys. Negative 4 times positive 4 gets me back to my original number, and that's what I wanted. So this gives you a very good idea. You have your previous test. Please listen. I know class is over. Okay? You have a very good idea now of what review questions are on your next test. You need to go back to those tests that you have in your binders and make sure you review these concepts. Okay? It's also going to be on your review sheet that I hand out Monday night for homework. All right? If you understand that, the review section is not on your quiz, but it is on your test. Okay? You should be ready for your quiz and test next week.